Hi, sorry about that. Sound issues, but we are here. And I'm sorry, yes, you didn't hear it before, but I've been welcomed back with a cold, which is a bit of a pain, but there you go. We had a great time in Portugal for two reasons. One, we had our first bridge holiday as a travel agent, or a tour operator, I should say, not a travel agent. And so it went well, which is great. And I have to say the Portugal hotel and holiday as a whole was excellent. And then I had a week's holiday there with my family. Alfie and Helen came with 3 days of the bridge event still to go. And that was enjoyed. And then 1 week's holiday. Wow. It was good. It was good. The beach is fantastic there, and Alfie loved that, and I did, digging holes and filling them up again and letting the water fill them up and jumping in the waves. Brilliant. And good enough. Certainly the weather in the first week was excellent, the second week pretty good as well, so we couldn't grumble with that. So yeah, and of course lots of holidays to come. So they are, I think, all now alive. Let me just put that up for you so you can see them. But the Tenerife, Croatia, Mallorca, Portugal, Greece. We're going 5-star. 5-star. We're going in Greece, which is quite exciting. The first time we've done that, so do look into that. Obviously a little bit more pricey, but an exciting option. So that's October of next year. And I've got one day here, and then tomorrow I'm flying to Ireland. So but of course I did have a week's holiday, so I've got to remember that. But yes, I'm in Ireland on Tuesday. The event starts on the Wednesday, goes Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we fly back in the morning on Saturday. And I'm sure some are staying here, there and everywhere, but it should be fun. In the Trident Hotel in Cork, first time we've been there. Yes, I'm looking forward to it, but it does mean I'm not here. So I've decided I do like playing the teams live. Thanks for the feedback on last Wednesday's, or the Wednesday before's pairs, where I did a pairs, and I'm glad a few of you enjoyed it. And I do like talking about pairs, but I need a little bit more time to do it, and I feel that doing it you know, in a non-live game, as it were, is slightly easier for me. So I'm doing the teams tonight. So it is going to be live tonight, so because I'm away. So don't forget, if you're, for some of you, hopefully you'll be free and be able to watch me live. So we're playing the teams tonight at 7:30, and then the Friday is recorded. The Friday is going to be a revision section, and that is going to be on defense to get us ready for the new Friday sessions. And the new Friday sessions are going to be on defending double contracts. Why? Because I desperately want to improve us, if that makes sense, because I persuade people to double a lot. I want you to double more and more, and of course this Friday topic will carry on going hopefully through January. Of course, double annually, where I want you to double more, but you've got to double in conjunction with defending a little bit more accurately, because sometimes the 800s go missing and they're only 300s. If you get the defense right on some of these hands, you can get some fantastic scores. Knowing when to lead trumps, knowing when to force your opponents makes a huge difference. Okay, a lot of partnership trust involved as well. So what is there? Well, today I haven't got a 5-level decision because I haven't had a Friday for a little while, obviously. So we're talking about unblocking and blocking. We have gone past preempt-temper. And a year ago, we did unblocking and blocking as the declarer. And for the most part, that's okay, because you can see 2 hands. The tricky part is defenders. because how on earth do you know you have a blockage? So as usual, I'm going to start with an excerpt from the big seminar, and just to introduce the topic. And then next Monday we'll have a little bit more, and then we'll look at some hands. If you come across these ones, please do send them in. I love to have your hands sent in. These tend to be the cause of some acrimony between partners, because one of you will think it was obvious that they should have unblocked and the other one may not. But yeah, no, it's an interesting topic. And that's what we're going to focus on, and then we will finish with the bidding quiz, of course. I'm off to go and see Milton Hill House after this, just to see how the venue is, etc. I know that some of you will be booked in to see Kim there later this month, and we are looking at it. If I'm honest, it's in a similar area to Down Grove, and I just want to make sure that we have our options open, I think would be a good way of putting it. Okay, let's go to our seminar and see what we've got. Okay, so unblocking as defenders. So the topics that we cover, or I cover in the big seminar, and it is a big seminar. Some of these seminars, it's always quite tricky when you're doing a recording of a seminar, but I always feel that, you know, given that I'm hoping that you're happy to stop it at any point and rerun it, etc., that I'm quite happy to let the big seminar go on a little bit longer, because hopefully it's giving you more, more to feast on for the month, as you are. So first of all, the basics of returning partner suit. And I'm going to have a look at that today because it's really important, and actually a lot of people don't really know it, but it's one of the ways you work out what holding your partner has and what might be going on. The other things, avoiding blockages in simple suits. Very easy if you're declarer. If you're defenders, it's not as simple as it looks. Unblocking and partner's lead goes later on in the seminar, which I'm not looking at today. Subtle blockages, well, we saw that with declarer, it can be tricky, okay, where you need to unblock a 9 or 10 early on in a suit so that you can have a suit running. And unblocking later in the play, that tends to be the avoidance of end plays, which if your opponent is good enough to play an end play, sometimes you'll need to make sure that you make it difficult or impossible for them to do. Okay, but let's focus on the basics of returning suit. So there you are. There's 3 holdings I've given you. Imagine it's 3 no trumps or 1 no trump or whatever. But even if it was a suit contract, you'd probably still be doing the same. Often you'll switch, of course, but in no trumps here, your partner's led the suit. Let's assume you haven't bidded for this purposes. You know, so partners choosing to lead their long suit. You're going to win the ace, then you're going to choose what to lead back. Okay, and this is quite important, particularly when you've got a 5-card suit. Because if you've got a 5-card suit and partner's led from 4, you need your partner to realise that you are long. Does that make sense? So by leading the right card, hopefully partner might work it out and he'll be trying to unblock. Does that make sense? Usually the opening leader wants you to unblock so he can run his suit. But if you have the longer holding, you have to transpose the actions, as it were. So when returning partner's suit, you lead, in a way, the natural thing. Okay, but the best way of putting it is this. If you have a doubleton left, like almost always when we have doubletons, you play the top card. So if you have 2 cards left, you lead your highest. Otherwise, you lead the original 4th highest. Okay, so the original 4th highest, if that makes sense. You either lead the top of a remaining doubleton, or from length, your original 4th highest. So in a way, the best thing to do is think about it now, before you've played the ace. Does that make sense? Okay, so the lead is small. Okay, and we win the ace. Okay, I'll just go back now. The 4 of spades is led and you win the ace. Don't worry about dummy. Let's say there's 2 small or a singleton or whatever it is. Okay, but you're going to win your ace and now it's your turn to lead back. So from the highest one, from the top holding there, we've got 2 left, so we lead the 9. And that's important because when partner sees the 9, partner knows we've only either got the 9 or we've got a doubleton. We would not lead that 9 back if we have a longer holding in the suit. Does that make sense? Okay. So from the other 2 holdings, of course, we would lead the 3 back. The original 4th highest. What's important again here is that when we lead the 3 back and let's say the 2 is missing, partner can maybe surmise that we have a 5 card holding. And therefore think maybe I need to get rid, because remember you've only got the 9 of spades there. And we're going to see a hand, funnily enough, where partner does indeed have something like, well, we had the ace here, but partner has ace, queen, 10 small and needs to unblock so that our 9 can eventually win the 4th round of the suit. Okay, so which card do you return? Either the top of a doubleton or your original 4th highest. Of course, if you've only got 1 left, then not unreasonable to return that one. So let's see it in action. Here, dummy's got a singleton jack. So we're in no trumps. Your partner leads a small one. It goes jack, ace. So you're on lead. Okay. So there's 2 things that could happen here. Hopefully partner's long in the suit. That would be great. In which case we can just run the suit nice and easy. But what you do have to contemplate on some hands is that if partner only had 3 cards here, then declarer has 4. So let's see what partner leads back. Okay, partner leads the 9. Now that is clearly partner's highest spade back. Partner could, I suppose, have had ace, queen, 9 precisely, but partner should have led the queen from that, should win the ace and then lead the queen. So here the 9 is either partner's last spade or it is top of a doubleton. So we therefore know how many spades declarer's got, either 4 or 5. Declarer has length in spades. Now, of course, with 5, declarer might well have bid them, with 4, less likely. So it goes 9, queen, king. And this is where it gets crucial here. Now, of course, excuse me, it is possible that partner has 9, 8 doubleton. But in that case, maybe declarer would have ducked. I have a feeling here the most likely holding is the fact that declarer's covered the 9 with the queen is that declarer has 2 left, including the 8. It's very subtle, isn't it? Okay, but that 8 of spades will be a winner. Remember, the jack of spades went to trick 1. It went jack, ace, and you can see the king and queen. The 9 has gone. So if you play the 10 here, remember we know declarer's got 4, at least. So if you play the 10, there's a fair chance you establish declarer's 8. Whereas if you hope, I mean, imagine this is 1 no trump, for example. So everybody's got lots of entries. Well, then you'd be very hopeful that partner would get the lead again. Now, on another hand, maybe you're playing against 3 no trumps and you've got a couple of aces. Well, you're the only one who's going to get the lead, so it's not unreasonable to play the 10 of spades and knock out the 8. But if you've got no other entries yourself, okay, so let's just have a look. Partner's led back high, so let's look at the scenario that I think is most likely. Okay, and this is it here. Okay, so it's a very simple suit, but look at what happens after the first 2 tricks. So this is where we are. Remember, the second trick went 9, queen, king. So this is where we are. Can you see it? These holdings are very, very common actually, or relatively common, because you're leading a long suit all the time, so you get all sorts of holdings. So here, If you never think your partner's going to get the lead again, and you can make that assessment, you listen to the auction, maybe they've got 28 points, they're in 3 no trumps, you can see lots in dummy, and you've got another ace, well, by all means play the 10 and another. But if you've got no other entries, and partner could have as many as 8 or 9 points, maybe in 1 no trump, as you know, could have 2 or 3 more entries, then be patient. Because if you're patient here, your partner can lead the 6 of spades through that 8, and you'll make 3 more spade tricks. And in a 1 no trump contract, that would be lovely, wouldn't it? You'd have ended up making 5 spades and maybe 2 more tricks in partner's hand. Okay, whereas if you play the 10 of spades, you allow the 8 to make, and if you've got no other entries, you won't even make the 2 or the 7 at the end. Okay, so West can switch here, waiting for partners to lead the suit back. Remember, if you don't think partner's going to get the lead, then there's 2 choices. If you've got an entry for later, then by all means play the 10 of spades and knock out the 8. Give away a trick, but hopefully make 1 later. If you haven't, then maybe you might want to conserve your 10 of spades, because remember, if you cash the 10, you give the 8 away. It's always quite difficult to judge, but on a normal hand where you're hopeful that both of you might get back in a few times, well then of course be patient and let your partner get the lead again. But be aware of the scenario, and that's important. Most people don't even think about this idea. They just play the 10 and discover that Declare has got a winner with his 8. Okay, so those weren't really blockages. That was just seeing how a suit runs out. But of course, we need to know the natural play in a suit to actually understand how we avoid blockaging. Okay, so the player with the longer holding clearly needs to be aware of needing a higher card to overtake with when the last round is played, as it were. Okay. And of course, the player with the shorter holding has to be aware of holding a small card. And that's the crucial thing. It's a partnership game. So whenever we have an argument, you know, we've got 9 spades between us. We should have taken the first 5 tricks. We only took 4 because it got blocked. There's always 2 sides to the story. Both players need to be aware. One of them needs to keep a low one, and one of them needs to keep a high one. So the player with the longer holding must be aware that they want a high card. You know, it's no good having the 3 and 2 left in your hand, okay? And the player with the shorter holding has to be aware, okay? And it's a lot more difficult than it thinks. So if we look at cards like this, if we look at hands like this, it's simple, isn't it? I mean, come on, you know, you just take the ace and king, the 10 of spades is 1, and then you lead the 8 to the 9. But it goes off so commonly, okay? Because of course the 4 is led. It's the natural lead. It's the right lead. So once the 4 is led, suddenly it's getting quite tight, okay? So it goes the 4 to the ace, and what I want to see is East returning the 3. And that then puts into both players' minds, I hope, that East could have more spades than West. So West is thinking, okay, this is looking good. The Queen and Jack have fallen on trick 2. So it'll go small to the ace, small back to the king, and the Queen and Jack will fall. At that point, West is conscious. Partner could have 5 here. So I need to play my 10 and then play the 8. Okay, so nicely done. After 2 rounds, this is the scenario. And we play the 10 and then the 8. Because we've seen the Queen and Jack fall, we're in a position to know. Does that make sense? So we play the 10 and then lead the 8 to the 9, and we make sure we take 5. Let's just change it, okay, to this point here. Okay. So once again, I do want East to lead back the 5. So it goes the 3 of spades to the ace, and then we lead the 5 back, because we're trying to get across to our partner the length we've got. Okay, yes, you can see here it's going to be obvious because the Queen and Jack are going to fall, but it won't always be so obvious. Okay, so we lead the 3 to the ace, and the 5 is led back. At this point, after 2 rounds, here we are. West knows that he has the longer holding, so he leads small now. East can win the 10 and lead the 6 back. Okay. So again, it should be relatively straightforward. But the funny thing is, we often don't think about a blockage until there is a blockage. Okay, and that's the problem. So small to the 10 and then back to the 9. In many ways, you could say this is more difficult if I'd given you the 10, if West the 10 and East the 9, because you're thinking, well, I need to play the 10 here. Does that make sense? So if West had had the 10, you'd think, oh, I know the 10's a winner, I'll play it. But then don't forget, can you see that the 4 and the 2 are too little? So even, let's say you play the 10 and East had the 9, and East thinks, oh, I'll unblock the 9, it's too late. Even if East did throw the 9 underneath the 10, of course the 6 would block. However, we were able to lead. So these are the more subtle ones. Those we should be able to get right. Look at these are tough. Okay, so, and the reason why they're tough is because we just don't think about it. Okay, so it goes to the ace, partner leads a spade back, the 3 of spades, and it goes 7. Okay, so at this point, it's tricky because you're not necessarily thinking about blockages and you're thinking my 8 can win the trick. It's perfectly reasonable. And I think a lot of people will play the 8 there. And we'll look at an example in a second where the bidding may help us. But it is very tempting to play the 8, isn't it? The problem is where's that 2 of spades? And if the 2 of spades is in partner's hand, partner could have 5. Okay, but the key is it's partner's lowest. So partner should just have 4 anyway. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put the 10 on just in case, but it's not easy. It really isn't easy, because if you play the 8, you may well have blocked the suit. So if de Clare playing naturally, you're thinking de Clare could have just 3 to the queen. Let's say the auction's got 1 no trump, 3 no trumps, for example. Yes, I know there's a singleton in dummy, but you know, maybe dummy's got a long minor. Okay, you know, so it's relatively ordinary bidding. And you've got to decide what to do. And, you know, who holds the longer holding? It's hard to know. If it is your partner, though, you need a low card. And the only low card you've got is the 8. Okay. And I think a lot of people would go wrong with this kind of holding. It's really hard to judge. Not only that, the problem is that if de Clare does have the queen 9-7, if de Clare had queen 9-7, partner should have led the 2 back. And that, I suppose that, so it's subtle, but the fact that the 2 is missing is really important here. So well done, de Clare, if de Clare has hidden the 2 of spades from you. But more common surely here is that at some point de Clare would have played the 2. And the fact that the 2 has not been played is the big clue here. So can you see what happens? If you decide to win the 8, the king cashes. Well, let's just have a look. So go to trick 2 here. Okay. Partner's led the 3, and the fact that the 2 is missing to me is the big clue. I think partner's got 5. So it went 7. If we play the 8, we've blocked the suit. And this is where you have your little argument. Oh, come on, partner, what have you done? Okay. Yeah, okay. You need the 8 on the 4th round of the suit. So here we have to put the 10 in. We then drop the queen with the king. You happy with that? The king drops the queen. And now you have the 8 to lead to partner. Okay. It's much easier after the occasion. Believe you me, quite often you'll have already played the 8 of spades without even thinking. A lot of us would. Okay, the 8 of spades allows us to take the first 5 tricks. So let's look at one example, and we can see how things work. I mean, again, we know what's going on, so life is easy. So, 1 diamond, 2 no trumps, 3 no trumps. So that's an old-fashioned 2 no trumps, 11 points, balanced. Should be very flat, shouldn't have a 4-card major, that kind of thing. So you're leading against 3 no trumps and you choose the 3 of spades. It's an aggressive lead. Let's see what happens. Well, the good news is your partner wins the king. That is good news. Okay. And your partner leads the 6 back. Okay, so this one again, I think a lot of us are just going to get this wrong. I mean, I think it's really tough here. Yeah, I think it's really tough. You know, I think most of us would have played the 10 of hearts before we've got a chance to think. But the point is, I think the most important thing here, and this is again subtle, is that assuming you trust the opponent, it's gone 1 diamond, 2 no trumps, so I don't think South has got 4 hearts. So even if South does have the Jack of Hearts, it's likely to fall on the 3rd round. Does that make sense? The tricky bit here is just to even imagine, you know, but of course quite often they do. We often end up in 3 no trumps and it turns out we've got a doubleton in 1 suit in both hands. And it turns out partner's got King, Jack to 5 hearts. Okay, he has to lead a small one back. He needs his Jack of Hearts to have a chance of winning the 4th round. Okay, so if we win the 10 here, we win the first 4 tricks. Unfortunately, that's all the tricks we make. We have to take 5 heart tricks to take this contract down. Okay, so the bidding is subtle, and of course, you know, you can't always trust them. Of course, South could have 4 to the Jack, but we've got to be aware here of the chance of there being a blockage. So we win the Queen. Well, here's the hand. You win the Queen, you play the Ace, and then you lead the 10 of hearts to the Jack, and you take the first 5 heart tricks. There's the layout. Very simple. I think it's clearly a lot of you nowadays, it would go a diamond, 2 clubs from South, and then maybe 2 diamonds, and you might even avoid 3 no trumps. And on this particular layout, 5 diamonds, funnily enough, is a great contract, isn't it? But South decided, I haven't got a 4-card major, I'm going to bid no trumps, and they ended up in 3 no trumps. And if there is a blockage in the hearts, they will make 3 no trumps very comfortably indeed and get the same score as anybody in 5 diamonds. It is tricky because you just don't think about it. You lead the 3 of hearts to the King and the small one comes back, you win the 10 and think, brilliant, we've taken the first 4 tricks, and partner goes to bed with the Jack of Hearts. These blockages are tricky. Okay, so De Clever has his 11 tricks. We have to take the first 4 to take it down. So that introduces the topic, I hope, not an easy topic. The first part is worth knowing. So if you're not familiar with understanding which card to lead back in your partner suit, it's a really important one. And the thing to generally remember is leading top of a doubleton back. But I think it's an interesting one. Some of the ones we'll get to later in the big seminar if you've already done it, and we'll talk about are very tricky indeed. Plays where you can sort of see how the defense is going to go. I mean, against a good, I mean, it sort of has to be against a good declarer, but if you know a good declarer, particularly if you've maybe, I don't know, bid 1 no trump in an auction, they finish in game, they know jolly well you've got all the points. So that's when you're desperate to get partner on lead. Maybe you've got a Queen Jack and a few small ones in a suit. You throw your Queen and Jack to hope your partner can win the 10, as it were. You know, you sort of know he's got a near yarb, or as it were, you're hoping he hasn't got a yarb, as in a 10. So, and we'll look at all those sorts of things. But as I say, please do send hands in. I love to have hands to exhibit these topics. And you know, if you do have an argument with your partner, I can try and solve it for you. Just don't forget, we are coming into Christmas season. So our festive season, excuse me, as usual, we are doing a similar style of things. So we've got the Christmas event on the 23rd with Lynn. I come on the 27th for Twixmas, which is quite exciting. Let me remind me what I'm doing. Sorry, I'm just going to go back. I am doing sacrificing. What a lovely topic for the Christmas season, sacrificing. And then we do the celebrations, of course, for New Year, which is always great fun. And then for the sadists that love to start the year working hard, we have Reboot Your Defense. It is a wonderful way to start the year if you want to get your defence going. It is hard work. I'm not going to argue with that. 6 seminars on defence, but it will really get the juices flowing, I hope. So do come and visit us over that time. It's an exciting time of year for us generally. So let's go to the bidding quiz, and here it is. So 1 diamond on your light from south, and you've chosen to make a takeout double. I hope you're happy with that. Seems reasonable. It goes pass on your left, and your partner bids 1 no trump. Pass, and it's your bid. Okay, so 1 diamond double, pass. 1 no trump, pass, and it's your bid. See what you think of that. And you get the answer as usual on the website, whether you're a member or not. You usually have to give us your email to get the answer if you're a non-member. And as usual, I have to ask you, why are you not a member? Don't forget, you can always come and trial us, or you can just join for a month and see what you think. We have a lot of information here, I can promise you that. So we're nearly getting back to normal. This week, don't forget, I am in Ireland, so the teams are tonight. Teams are tonight at 7:30, so that should be fun, with a few different players, because of course there were a few different people free excuse me, on the Monday. So I'll be back from Ireland on Saturday. So the Friday's recorded. That's a revision session on defence to get us prepared for getting people a lot further off when they're doubled. Okay, and then Monday we're back live as usual, and we'll have a normal week next week. So unblocking on the Mondays, and defending doubled contracts beyond next Friday. We're going to work a bit harder and have some fun. I love my 800s, as I hope you do, so let's make sure we get them out of those doubled contracts. Thanks for your company, and see you again soon.